Okay, so what if Squid Game was actually real? I mean, not the deadly parts, obviously, but imagine everything else, the giant sets, hundreds of players, and a prize that would totally change your life. Well, one YouTuber went and did it. Let's get into how he pulled it off.
And to make it a perfect copy of the show, they started with the exact same number of people, 456. Right from the jump, you could just feel how massive this thing was going to be. And the price tag to make all this happen? Get this, a staggering $3.5 million. I mean, we're not talking about a regular YouTube video here. This was a full-blown production that could go toe-to-toe with any big TV game show. And the craziest part? He put it all online for free.
So that's the big question, isn't it? How on earth did a single creator pull off the world's biggest game show? We're going to break down all of it. The games, the strategy, and just the sheer logistics of making this a reality.
All right, let's dive into Section 1, the first eliminations. They wasted no time at all. The games began right away, and the eliminations were absolutely brutal from the get-go.
So first up was red light, green light. You know the drill. The rules are dead simple. You've got 30 minutes to get across this huge room, but when that music stops and you hear red light, you have to freeze solid. I mean, any movement at all, even a tiny twitch, and this little device on your chest pops. And that's it. You're out.
But here's the thing. They weren't just copying the games. Oh no, they were adding their own little twists. Like they threw in a surprise yellow light just to mess with everyone. And as one player put it was just diabolical. And the result of that first game? Absolute carnage. They started with 456 players, and only 232 made it through. Yep, almost half the contestants were gone in the very first game. That really set the tone, didn't it?
For the ones who survived, there was pretty much no time to catch their breath. They moved right on to the legendary Honeycomb Challenge, a game that's less about being athletic and all about pure nerve and having a super steady hand.
Again, the rules seem simple. You blindly pick a shape, and then you have just 10 minutes to perfectly carve it out of this really fragile cookie using only a needle. And of course, the dreaded umbrella was one of the shapes. One tiny crack, and you were done. So after 10 super tense minutes of people just scraping away and trying not to panic, another massive group of players got knocked out. The field was now down to only 142 survivors.
Okay, Section 2, Strategy, Teams, and Betrayal. See, at this point, the game's really changed. It wasn't just about individual skill anymore. It was about something way more complicated, group dynamics. Suddenly, who you trusted was just as important as how strong you were.
First up in this new phase, tug of war. But, before the game could even start, the 142 players had to face a whole different kind of challenge, making teams of 10. And the way they built these teams was just ruthless. People were scrambling, trying to find the biggest, strongest players they could. Some teams were brutally honest about it, like this quote shows. It was intense. Tug of war is a brutal zero-sum game, right? For every team that wins, another team goes home. It's that simple. So in just one challenge, the entire group was cut clean in half, leaving just 60 people in the game. What came next? Well, it was probably the most emotionally crushing game from the entire series, the Marbles game. And in this real-life version, they added a twist that was just especially cruel. So Mr. Beast just drops this bombshell. He says the production team had been watching everyone, seeing who was hanging out together. You weren't going to play against some random person. Nope. You were forced to play against and eliminate the person you'd become closest to. What a gut punch. The whole situation was just brutal. The goal was easy to understand. Win all 20 of your opponent's marbles. But the cost? You had to be the one to kick your best friend out of the competition. There was no way out of it.
And now, Section 3, the final gauntlet. We went from 60 players down to 30, and the last few challenges were this wild mix of pure luck, smart strategy, and just holding your nerve under insane pressure. First, they had to face the Gloss Bridge. After a quick little game to decide the order, 16 finalists had to make their way across. This timeline here shows exactly how game theory unfolded in real life. For a long time, nobody moved. They all refused to take that 50-50 chance. But then, when the clock hit 2 minutes, pure panic set in, and it turned into a desperate, mad dash to the finish.
When that clock finally hit 0, a lot of people were eliminated. not because they stepped on the wrong piece of glass, but just because they ran out of time. In the end, only 6 people made it across to the other side to play in the final game.
And here we are. Section 4, one winner takes all. This is the moment. 6 people left, one last steak dinner, and a final, simple game for a truly life-changing amount of money.
So the final game wasn't actually the Squid Game from the show. Why? Well, nobody really knew how to play it. So instead, they picked something everyone on Earth knows, musical chairs. And the eliminations were fast. One person out each round, one after another, until only 2 were left standing.
After one last super tense round, contestant 079 managed to sit down just a split second faster than his final opponent. He did it. He survived every single challenge, and now he was the one and only winner of $456,000.
And that really is the biggest takeaway here. An event this huge, with that kind of budget, on that scale, getting hundreds of millions of views, it didn't happen on TV. It was made for YouTube. And that leaves us with a really fascinating question to think about. What is the new ceiling for online entertainment? Where does it go from here?